After Lil Jeff's death, eventually many comments would surface dissing the set that were allegedly responsible for taking Jeff's lives to defend themselves, with things like Trap City K becoming a regular post in Lil Jeffology. Other posts would say that they would soon be changing their name to Trap Cemetery and claiming that Trap City would be in danger forever now. Some would go as far as to say that it makes them happy every time that they see shots fired on Trap City's hood, but interestingly, it didn't take long for the users of both Chiracology and now Lil Jeffology on Reddit to produce a name of who they believe shot Jeff. According to Chiracology, who cracked the case a mere 2 days after Jeff was killed, the alleged shooter was Trap City Rob, or iTrap Rob, who had actually been arrested several times at the house where the shooter had allegedly shot Jeff from the porch. Posts would circulate within days naming Trap City Rob as wanted and on the run, with one news article on Jeff's death confirming that the shooter was wanted by the police. On the 16th of June, Chiracology would appear to identify Trap City Rob in a fresh post just over a week after Jeff's death, with some people pointing out that in this photograph, Rob was wearing a shirt that seemingly was trolling Jeff and the situation how he lost his life. Trap City Rob would then begin to go viral on both subreddits, with numerous posts alluding to him having been Jeff's killer. Interestingly, Trap City Rob was another person who members of the Bloodhounds had once been friendly with, and throwback pictures would later circulate showing Bloodhound Vert and another man standing alongside Rob, and alleged comments on the original picture by Vert would be dissing the other man in the picture who posted it originally, a man by the name of Trey, who was actually a relative of Vert's that Jeff was even following. Vert would call them out in the comments of the picture for trolling, but it's unclear if he was dissing Trey or Rob or both of them. But he would go on to comment Goofy K. Someone called Stalk in a Bag 067 would comment something back, to which an apparent Bloodhound member would comment, "Drop a low so we can give your kids a Father's Day surprise they'll never forget," with Stalk in a Bag then deleting his entire Instagram account. Drewski Gang Trey, who posted the picture, also posted a story with Kayla B, King Von's sister, even though No Limit, Lamron, THF, etc. are all seemingly cool with the Bloodhounds. Just days before the killing of Jeff, Vert appeared to still be liking Trey's posts, although he could well have been trolling, and Trey also had posts liked by Jeff himself all the way back in October 2023, so perhaps they were friends, or maybe frenemies. Anyway, some YouTube channels like Drill Time TV would circulate reports that no charges were being filed against Lil Jeff's shooter, but no official paperwork has circulated. However, once the internet had realized that Trap City Rob might be the main suspect, the keyboard warriors on Reddit would begin to go to work. Trap City Rob is actually a rapper as well, and after he was identified as a possible shooter in Jeff's case, a 4-year-old song of his would begin to go viral on Reddit. The track was What a Feelin', released in July 2020, and it didn't really get much shine at the time, but now Rob was potentially the killer of Chirac's new favorite killer rapper. Suddenly, there was a spike of interest in Rob's old song. The views would jump up by over 10,000, and the YouTube upload of his song would be flooded with comments referencing the Jeff situation. One would say that Jeff came to deliver the mail, and Unk said return to the sender, with Unk seemingly being a reference to the fact that Trap City Rob is somewhat older and probably the generation above Lil Jeff and his friends. Another comment would say Big Unk never hopped off the porch, he was camping on it. One person said you can tell this young dude is cool, but just handled his business, making a split-second decision. As I said, people on the internet were treating the gang wars like it was professional sports, with one commenter calling Rob the defensive player of the year, and they would say protect the porch at all costs. But more importantly, some people commented to say that the message behind Rob's song actually resonated with them. In one now infamous lyric, Rob would rap "Take care of them children, buy a couple of buildings." One person seemed to suggest that Rob's outlook on life was actually the perfect antidote to Lil Jeff's demonic way of behaving, commenting, "Mad respect to Unk, let these young bulls know, learn a lesson, get your priorities straight, stack your paper and invest, don't pop pills and crash out, take care of your kids." There was some admiration for Rob amongst fans who were speculating on his role in Jeff's death on Reddit's Chiracology too. So on June the 28th, a new Reddit community was actually started to rival Lil Jeffology and pay tribute to his killer, specifically Trap City Rob, with r/Trap City Unk Gang emerging on Reddit too, with the first post asking, "What's the status of Shorts? Hope Unk okay?" A reference to the shorts wearing man in the surveillance footage who Jeff had been trying to kill at first before he lost his life. Someone would comment suggesting that Shorts didn't get hit at all because his speed stats were maxed out, and calling him Flash Unk, saying that he outrun all of Jeff's bullets. From here, people would begin posting messages of support for Rob and Unk Gang, with one post saying, "When the bloody hounds start misbehaving, call Team Unk." Other posts said, "Protect Unk at all costs," with people commenting "Protect Rob" like he protected that porch. Members begun referring to themselves as PDN, or Porch Defender Nation. People would be posting a list of Unk's accomplishments in 2024 so far, saying that he's got fans worldwide, his ops are neutralized, his porch is protected, and making reference to his lyrics. But things were actually a little deeper than just Lil Jeff haters showering respect on his alleged killer. The next post asked the followers, "Why did you join Unk Gang?" with the comments responding being surprisingly insightful. One person said the predictable, "Well, Unk stood on business, gotta give him his flowers." Another person said, "I'm actually in Unk's age range, so I respect a man who does his job and does it well." Whilst one commenter explained, "Who else gonna hand out a lifetime of whipping on these 20-year-old demons who were out here killing dudes for Instagram fame. Now, I thought this was an interesting comment because it gets to the heart of the generational divide of gangsters and trappers. Rob is a little bit older than Jeff, and it seems that his attitude and outlook, at least from his music and interviews, is that he's much more mature and focused on making money and taking care of the people around him. That's a stark contrast to the energy that Lil Jeff was putting out in his music and on social media, bragging about committing 11 murders, taking the lives of school children, endangering innocent people, and disrespecting the dead for views and attention online. That's not the only reason he did it, but you can't say that Jeff wasn't enjoying the clout. Trap City Unk Gang subreddit kind of represented the polar opposite attitude to some of the more deranged murder celebrations seen on Lil Jeffology, or occasionally the wider Chiracology. The Trap City Unk Gang sub would post Rob writing on Facebook how doing a rough 4 months in jail and only getting one phone call a week really changed him. Rob would say that he spent his time praying and reading and focusing, and that he never wants to do time like that again, with all the comments full of messages of support. He would also make a socially conscious post where he explained that he feels that a lot of young black men's conflict skills are drastically underdeveloped, and that a lot of disagreements end up being fights or shootouts, and he thinks the youth should try and talk it out and articulate their thoughts and feelings better, going on to say that black on black violence is really just a distraction from the systemic injustices that their community face, going on to call out drill music and calling it the commercialization of murder, and encouraging people to use their heads and think more. Funnily enough, the divide between Lil Jeffology and Trap City Unk Gang would spill into the wider Chiracology community and end up becoming a full-blown beef, as Unk Gang members claimed that they were being blackballed and suppressed by the moderators on the Lil Jeffology subreddit, telling other members to keep posting in the main Chiracology subreddit to push the Unk Gang agenda. Redditors showing support for Unk Gang on Chiracology would ask whether fat phobia or ageism was the reason why Big Unk Rob wasn't getting his props, which attracted actual sensible comments from people who explained that they believed it was kind of the Lil Tim effect, because people are infatuated with Jeff just like Von, therefore they hate his killer. These posts were seemingly getting removed by mods from Chiracology, with one post suggesting that the mods actually found the Unk Gang trolling funny, despite still removing it. And then, days later, Lil Jeffologists would accuse Chiracology of having a bias towards Rob and Unk Gang. Now, as bizarre as it is to think that this real gang war and Lil Jeff's death sparked an entire internet gang war on Reddit, this is what drill is in 2024. And perhaps what was really happening is the more conscious and positive message that Trap City Rob was spreading was genuinely resonating with the wider Chiracology community, as it seemed that at this point, drill fans were truly tired of the constant violence and losses of their favorite demonic rappers. And ironically, after going viral on Reddit, Trap City Rob would appear on the X-Man Rico YouTube channel in Block to Block episode 20 for an interview alongside Tero and OTF Black, where they actually address Reddit's discussion of his possible involvement in the death of Lil Jeff. An interview which was notably filmed standing on a porch, an interview which Rob opened by denying that he was the killer of Lil Jeff.
Big Rob, man.
I don't even think you need no introduction at this point, my boy.
I do, man. That's not me.
Okay, for sure.
It's not me, man. Ain't nobody ever see this man's face. Like, I don't know how they did what they did, but it ain't one of them.
Now, this interview had some surprisingly inspiring moments, like when OTF Black said that there's nothing wrong with working an honest 9-to-5 job, and that he's been working since getting out of prison.
I'ma speak on it.
Yep.
I can speak on it. I just got the Feds. As soon as I came home from the Feds, I went straight to Amazon, I got a job. I worked in that 2 years. I only been home 3.
And he connect.
On
He
my
got a lot of
soul.
connect.
I'm in
For
it,
sure.
working.
Rob would actually say that he feels like drill culture hurt the streets of out west Chicago.
With all us being from Chicago, and that's why I was asking your age to see around how old you was when the drill era came. When that hit Chicago, do you think it teed the city up?
Hell yeah.
See, I was a shorty.
I always been outside.
He'd also later say that when it comes to drill, he likes the energy of the songs, but not the killing.
I like the energy, man. I
Yeah.
don't like the killing, but I like the energy, though. That's all I can say.
At this point, the interviewer says that he's surprised that they're so mature with their answers, proceeding to ask where they think that the violence can stop in Chicago.
Hey man, y'all talking some grown men. Ain't nothing wrong with jobs. Y'all don't like the killings. So I can ask y'all this question, because I always think this just start with gangbangers, man. How y'all think this violence could even slow down?
They would respond by saying that they remember the days before the violence, popularized by drill music, and that they had lived in the streets of Chicago since before people said they were smoking Tuka.
I ain't gonna lie, we can really say we started this era when it comes to this shit over here, because I've been through it all. My soul, I'm 36, I done been through the whole hood.
Before Tuka, all that.
Rob would say that he's been a rapper from the streets, but he's socially conscious and would never chase and promote the violence.
Pain. Chase that
be on
drill
some-
rapper
Yeah.
shit, bro. Like,
I be on
Okay.
some pain.
conscious, bro. Like, I'm in my environment, but I understand the overall. You know what I'm saying?
Rob would later say in part 2 that he feels black men in America struggle with emotional intelligence and mental health issues due to the trauma of the streets.
And something I've been noticing, bro, a lot of got different issues with themselves that they think is normal because we done grew up with it. like PTSD, anxiety, anger issues.
Listen, man, the black man is very underdeveloped and undereducated in America, bro.
Ooh, not me?
No, just listen, bro. When it comes to emotional intelligence, reasoning and shit, people getting shot over shoes and shit, that's not being
because
emotionally
he tryna hold
intelligent.
that.
This traumatizing though, bro. Like, this shit you deal with, this shit you choose to deal with. This is the life we put ourselves in.
Rob would elaborate, saying that he's conscious to the plot against his people through violent drill music and that he doesn't plan to fall victim to it.
It's a plot against us, bro. We fall into it, but I'm not gonna fall victim though. You know?
That was strong right there.
That would. Man, Rob talking that grown man. Man, Rob, bro.
Black and Tero would then bring up the post from Chiracology where people in Trap City Unk Gang subreddit suggested that Rob should run for president, creating a meme that put his face on the iconic picture of Malcolm X, with them breaking into laughter and finally acknowledging that they do indeed read the content posted in the Trap City Unk Gang subreddit, and with Rob going on to say that he's now getting recognized in public.
What they say they got him at the
These young men, crazy, bro.
Yeah, y'all seen that picture? Hey, they crazy on Reddit, folks.
He say protect the trap at all costs.
You gotta go down Reddit and just type in I Trap Rob.
For my kids, like, this is crazy, gang. Everywhere I go, like, oh damn, I can't even go nowhere. Man, I see how this on Reddit be crazy.
Now, the interviewer would ask him what he thinks of his newfound fame and what he thought of being named Defensive Player of the Year by Reddit, with a noticeable cut in the video, meaning Rob probably said something that initially he regretted. But ultimately, what was left in the video saw him go on to explain that he didn't chase the clout and that he doesn't like Redditors.
They say he the Defensive Player of the Year, folks. But on some serious
Nah, it ain't like that.
it ain't that. But is that something you could talk about in club? Since I see, because you got a whole.
Chase that shit. I don't even like it, so I don't need no internet crazy, so.
OTF Black would say that Reddit likes to put bodies on people and that they once put one on him, seemingly a reference to an IG story that Black had posted some time ago telling people if they want their respect, they should get their bodies up, with commenters on Reddit saying this was self-snitching and speculating that he may have been referring to his involvement in the FBG Cash murder, with Black essentially denying this in this interview.
Internet definitely put a body on you. They put one on me.
Yeah.
So that's what blew me up.
Trying to say he did, oh damn.
Oh damn.
Where that platform, Reddit, DJU, all.
Yeah, they got you on Reddit teed up.
There was one crazy moment where Rob was asked if he's on Reddit reading stuff about himself, with Rob just calmly nodding and smiling.
You their favorite person on there. Do you be going on there reading about yourself?
Rob would go on to seemingly reference a post from the Reddit, which was an image from Google Street View of the house that looked like where this all happened, with the title Unk Manor, with Rob actually revealing in the interview that this was really his grandmother's house and that he's worried it made her a target.
That is my grandma's house, though.
Y'all in danger after everything? Y'all names being put out there like that? This hood? Like that house, you said that's your grandma's house. That's plastered all over the internet, bro. People looking that address up, riding past it.
I see that shit on Reddit. That's the real shit, though. It's the internet, bro.
It's the internet. Look,
old lady
outside,
you know.
Rob would ultimately tell Redditors to stop trolling, with Black saying that people actually get killed for trolling.
Definitely don't play about that trolling.
Could you speak on that a little bit? Yeah.
Stop trolling.
Nah, stop trolling.
Rob even said that he wanted to run for mayor of Chicago in part 2 when he was asked if he was planning on staying in the city.
Y'all gonna be here for the rest of y'all lives? Y'all finna skedaddle?
I'll be the mayor of Chicago, man. I'm gonna be the mayor.
Skedaddle. I'm gone.
That Malcolm X just made me. I'm doing even more, bro.
Now, for you talking that.
Oh, some real shit ain't
They
about
need to let me
leaving.
be the mayor of the city, bro.
It's
It's
about.
It is what it is right now. I'm gonna be the mayor in like the next 5 to 10 years, bro.
So you always want to be in politics, or that's just some new?
I wanted to be in politics.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, that's raw as hell.
Just run the world, man.
Now, joking aside, somebody who's actually been in the streets of Chicago and the correctional system may well end up being quite good at changing things for the better if they became the mayor. But anyway, something people commented on from this interview was just how much looking around that they were doing to make sure that nobody was approaching them while standing on the porch, with Reddit later circulating a meme that had pasted all 3 of their heads on a carrier strike group, with Rob even posting this meme to his own Instagram page with a laughing emoji. It seemed that Trap City Rob was actually one of the few people in the streets of Chicago with a genuinely positive and progressive message on the state of the gang wars, and this was noticed in the comments that praised Rob for a positive approach and not dissing anyone. However, unfortunately, just because some positivity is being spread doesn't mean the war is slowing down. In fact, exactly a month after Jeff's death, one of his closest friends and frequent collaborator, Lil Scoom, was reportedly killed too, shot dead and left in the streets, with broken-hearted Chiracologists pointing out that now, out of the big 4 people in their friendship group, Lil Jeff, U50, The, and Lil Scoom, only 2 remained alive.
Breaking overnight, one person is dead after a shooting on the city's west side.
Police say a man was sitting in a rideshare vehicle.
You see 8 bullet holes on the rear right passenger window and 1 major hole on the door. So far, no one has been arrested.
Meanwhile, a local anti-violence advocate, Pastor Corey Brooks, says it was his administrative assistant's son who was killed here last night. He says the pain they feel right now is indescribable and asking people to pray for the family.
The teens made it only steps away from the front door of their school. Bullets shattered the glass and sent people inside nearby businesses ducking for cover. The mother of Montario Williams tells CBS 2 Montario and Robert were good friends. Montario was looking to graduate and hoping to attend a trade school. His mom thinks he may have gotten into carpentry. She says what happened is surreal, that her son was just trying to survive the streets.
This is 17-year-old Montario Williams and 16-year-old Robert Boston. Their lives cut short.
2 Innovations high school classmates were shot dead in the Loop near Washington and Wabash Friday afternoon, just as it was getting out for lunchtime.
Another violent weekend in Chicago with nearly 50 people shot as of this morning, including several teenagers. And all of this over the first full weekend of summer break for Chicago public schools.
The numbers are frankly hard to hear. 18 of those shootings happened just overnight. 49 people shot, 9 of them dead, and of those 49, we now know 8 of them are under the age of 18.
Mayor calling on more help, he says, from the federal government in terms of funding, but also making a plea to the community to turn perpetrators in so they can be held accountable.
We need to do things differently. This is terrible. This is unacceptable. But then the same thing keeps happening. So there is no magic potion to cure violence in the city of Chicago.
How many of you guys have been exposed to some type of violence in this neighborhood?
Jeremiah was the youngest. He told me about the loss of his father.
He got shot when he was going to a store.
How many more people have you lost to gun violence since the last time we spoke?
I'll say at least about 20.
20?
I couldn't tell you.
You couldn't tell me?
I think Chicago has been labeled helpless by the nation.
The violence here has robbed them of a childhood free of tragedy, a cycle that has continued into adulthood.
When I made my video King Von, rap's first serial killer, I truly couldn't have imagined anyone ever topping just how crazy and twisted Von's story was. I felt like Von was a one of a kind, especially when you consider just how allegedly deadly he was in the streets, combined with the fact that he was truly a talented rapper on the mic, with storytelling skills that were genuinely top tier when it comes to the craft of gangster rap. But the more I learned about Lil Jeff, his story, and his music, in many ways, he actually tops the King Von story. I'm by no means saying that Lil Jeff was a better rapper, or even a more prolific gangster than King Von, but what I am saying is that he appeared to embody the exact same principles as King Von did, and arguably, in some ways, he even took things a few steps further. Jeff himself was clearly obsessed with the violent gangster rappers who claimed to have bodies like King Von and NBA Youngboy. And again, I'm not saying that Jeff is anywhere near as good as rapping and storytelling on the mic as Von, but Jeff's music, mindset, and artistry actually say a lot about the state of Chicago drill music in 2024. Stepping in Blood is one of the greatest Chicago drill full-length projects ever released, and that's not because Jeff is an amazing rapper, or because it has the best production attributed to a Chicago drill project, but because the project, the beats, and the subject matter perfectly encapsulate exactly what's going on in the minds of Chicago's youth in 2024. Set aside the fact that Jeff killed people, he experimented with drill music and created something totally unique. He took the leaned out rap style of later Chief Keef and brought it into the modern era. He combined the wavy and lazy flows of a mumble rapper with the demonic and gritty content and real true crime backstory of someone like King Von. Jeff is like the mumble rap King Von, the Zan Von if you will. He paints a dark picture of the life he's living as a killer in Chicago at this point in his life. He explains the mindset of him and his crew, sliding every day, desperate to kill their enemies, take their watches, and mock them mercilessly for the whole world to see. Jeff celebrates real-life murders and violence with the same kind of glee a teenage Fortnite player would exhibit after killing their opponent and doing an emo over their body in the game. When I first heard Jeff's song Ah and heard him rap, he was screaming ah when he got hit, followed by the ad-lib of him doing the impression of those screams, ah. It actually made me laugh. That was before I learned the story and understood that he was doing a real impression of the dying screams of somebody whose life that he took before they even had a chance to turn 18. That's far from funny, but it truly is the attitude of the modern day streets in Chicago. It feels like once upon a time, young people in the rap scene dreamed of getting rich, but now it seems they simply dream of taking a life and getting away with it. Just like Von did, Jeff's music captures the darkest moods of the youth in the streets of Chicago and all over the world today. Everybody wants get back and revenge, much more than they want money or a long, successful, and healthy life. And for some, it really seems like the name of the game is just killing as many people as they can and knowing that their time to go won't be much further away. The first video of Jeff's to pass 1 million views was with this milestone being achieved ironically 16 days after his death. And the story of Jeff is really a cautionary tale. Even though it's completely wrong and immoral, even if you do respect somebody who has killed as many as 11 people, Jeff's story ended in a completely predictable way. No one was surprised that the supposed demon who claimed to have had 10 or 11 hats lost his life trying to take the life of another person. For the same reason I called King Von a serial killer, it's pretty easy to say that Jeff fits the very same criteria that the FBI lists to make you a serial killer. He seems to have killed more than 2 people in different places with more than a month apart. It sounds like he got a lot of personal gratification out of committing those murders. He seemed to have a pattern of behavior, and he left clues for the whole world to try and decipher in his music and on his social media posts. Beyond the many lyrics claiming to have a high body count, he left cryptic clues all over the place, like his Instagram captions using emojis to depict 10 different hats, each one giving a clue as to exactly who it was he was saying he killed.
Analyzing these emojis deeper seems perhaps like a silly pursuit, knowing how prone Jeff was to trolling and how aware he was about his growing infamy amongst the Chicago drill fans, and how he was willing to further increase it with his antics online. But still, as I previously mentioned, the 2 graduation caps seem like an obvious reference to Monty and Lil Rob. Then there's the woman's hat emoji, which was changed to the princess emoji, which could possibly be referencing D-Money, while either the crown or the so-called rescue worker's hat likely being a reference to Lil Deuce. And continuing the list towards the beginning, the so-called top hat emoji could literally mean his top hat, meaning his most valuable or favorite kill, with that likely being Leal, who would have been Jeff's revenge for the murder of his beloved cousin Z-Money. Or it could be a reference to the Vice Lords, who are known to have used that top hat as part of their symbolism. Or it could have been any number of things for that matter. The so-called military helmet emoji, on the other hand, might well be the most interesting one in that post, given particularly the rumors that Jeff had been doing contract killings all the way out in Milwaukee, with this emoji perhaps rather perfectly capturing the idea of Jeff doing a kill as simply a hired gun or professional soldier. Then there's the 3 blue caps at the start, also known as the build cap emoji, a much more cryptic start to an already cryptic list, with this emoji generally being used as the standard one to symbolize catching a hat, meaning a body. Perhaps these alleged victims may have meant less to Jeff, perhaps being simply practice kills that he participated in with the older Bloodhounds when he was first getting into gang life. Or perhaps the meaning is in the color, with the blue color being one of the main colors used by the GDs or gangster disciples, such as the earliest ops of Drill City, the 8 Tray Mob, Evans Mob, and Hit Squad, with the first body of Jeff, according to one Chiracologist, indeed being Clay from 8 Tray. As can be seen from the clues left by Jeff, while at times in his career he likened himself to Jeffrey Dahmer, clearly from all of these clues and hints and twisted codes used to hint to the world exactly what he was doing in the streets, if you ask me, he was much more like the Zodiac Killer.
Just like Von, Jeff wanted everyone in the world to know what he'd done and that he'd gone further than Von. But the difference right now is, unlike Von, I haven't been able to pin down every single one of Jeff's supposed 10 killings that he claims responsibility for. I couldn't prove with the information that's out there that Jeff killed all 10 or 11 people that he claims he did, but he says he did it. Right now, just like what happened with Von, as more time goes by since his passing, it's likely that more information will come out to prove or disprove his exact involvement in the murders he's accused of. By the end of his life, Jeff was claiming he'd killed 11 people. I personally feel like I've only seen conclusive proof of about 3 murders. But at the end of the day, Jeff dropped lyric after lyric about stalking his enemies, chasing them down, and even running in their homes to try and kill them. And from the surveillance footage that we saw when he passed away, it seemed like Jeff was really doing everything he rapped about. So even though we've only really been able to prove a few of these murders, at the end of the day, Jeff was rapping that he'd really killed 11 people. And you know what? I think I believe him.